There it is. All right, so thank you so much for being here. We're gonna start with our class. Okay, very well, yes. I just read your comments as well, thank you. So we're gonna start talking about this new unit. It's called have a ball. The expression have a ball in English means to have a good time, right? So what you see in this picture reflects like how celebration is in some cultures. I guess this is in Brazil. And there are different ways people celebrate all around the world. So we're gonna start discussing how we celebrate like in our cultures, in our different countries. And we're gonna learn also to describe some adjectives. Also, there's a challenging topic for many students, which is the gerund and infinitive and when to use them correctly. So that's what we're gonna do now. So as an introduction, and maybe you can look at the pictures. Um, I don't know, I think this is in Thailand, maybe? The monkeys everywhere. In India, for example, animals are sacred in many countries. They are even worshipped, right? Like cows, you can't kill cows in India, I think, right? You see here like different countries having different celebrations, sometimes for religious, they have religious purposes. Like you see here the same monkey, but now it's like a golden monkey, I believe. So sometimes it's for religious reasons. Sometimes it's like a worldwide celebration like Christmas, right? Sometimes it has to be with just spending time together. Sometimes there's no religious reason, or sometimes it's a national celebration or holiday. And we're gonna start talking about this. So first, we're gonna listen to this audio and learn about some traditions and festival in China, in Italy, and Thailand. All right. So, yeah, these might be like interesting, but they are not the strangest you may find. You will see that out there, there are so many other festivals that they are a bit even like they could be very they could you could hurt yourself while doing this. And like every country has their own way to celebrate or holidays. We're gonna learn first about these three, and then we'll like to show you one of the most unusual celebrations around the world. So let's start. We're gonna start listening to it. So try to first time I play, just try to understand and listen to these yeah, listen um to this audio, and then the next time you can answer, you can yeah, you can focus on providing the right answer here. So first let's listen to it and let's go.
Hi, I'm Andy Ferguson. Welcome to Around the World. Today we're going to end the year by going back to past reports about weird and wonderful celebrations. Let's start by returning to Harbin, a city in northern China. Here's our report from January.
Hello from Harbin. It's January 5 and the temperature here is minus 20 degrees Celsius. It's cold, but the weather is perfect for making snow and ice statues. Today, the city is filled with hundreds of stunning statues. There are snow and ice buildings too, huge cities of ice. Thousands of people are here to look at the impressive artwork. Seeing the statues at night is amazing. They are lit up with colorful lights.
Traveling to Italy is always great, especially for the Battle of the Oranges. Here's our report from February.
Greetings from Ivrea. This peaceful Italian town is not so peaceful right now. Everybody here is celebrating the famous Battle of the Oranges. For 3 days, people dress up in traditional costumes and act out a battle in the streets. More than 1 million oranges are going to be thrown during the battle. 1 million! Can you believe that? You wouldn't normally expect to see so many people in a small town like this, but there are more than 100,000 people here right now, including 4,000 official orange throwers. The streets are crowded and it can be scary at times, but it's mostly a lot of fun.
We'll end our travels around the world today by sharing one more past report. It's about a different kind of food festival in Lopburi, Thailand.
Today is a special day in Lopburi. It's the last Sunday of November, when people prepare a special meal for the 3,000 monkeys who live near here. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. After people sing and dance, the monkeys are invited to come down out of the trees, and their feast begins. The monkeys eat rice, fruit salad, and egg dessert. It's very noisy, and it's very messy. You really have to see this lively celebration if you get the chance. Watching the monkeys is very entertaining.
All right,
Page 68.
we play one more
Vocab.
time, and now we could answer, like focus on answering, and then we talk about these traditions.
Vocabulary. Descriptive adjectives. Exercise 4. Unit 7. Let's celebrate. Page 68. Listening. Surprising celebrations.
Hi, I'm Andy Ferguson. Welcome to Around the World. Today we're going to end the year by going back to past reports about weird and wonderful celebrations. Let's start by returning to Harbin, a city in northern China. Here's our report from January.
Hello from Harbin. It's January 5 and the temperature here is minus 20 degrees Celsius. It's cold, but the weather is perfect for making snow and ice statues. Today, the city is filled with hundreds of stunning statues. There are snow and ice buildings too, huge cities of ice. Thousands of people are here to look at the impressive artwork. Seeing the statues at night is amazing. They are lit up with colorful lights.
Traveling to Italy is always great, especially for the Battle of the Oranges. Here's our report from February.
Greetings from Ivrea. This peaceful Italian town is not so peaceful right now. Everybody here is celebrating the famous Battle of the Oranges. For 3 days, people dress up in traditional costumes and act out a battle in the streets. More than 1 million oranges are going to be thrown during the battle. 1 million! Can you believe that? You wouldn't normally expect to see so many people in a small town like this, but there are more than 100,000 people here right now, including 4,000 official orange throwers. The streets are crowded and it can be scary at times, but it's mostly a lot of fun.
We'll end our travels around the world today by sharing one more past report. It's about a different kind of food festival in Lopburi, Thailand.
Today is a special day in Lopburi. It's the last Sunday of November, when people prepare a special meal for the 3,000 monkeys who live near here. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. After people sing and dance, the monkeys are invited to come down out of the trees, and their feast begins. The monkeys eat rice, fruit salad, and egg dessert. It's very noisy, and it's very messy. You really have to see this lively celebration if you get the chance. Watching the monkeys is very entertaining.
All right, so we have here these celebrations. So the first one is the festival in Harbin, China. So this has artwork or fireworks.
Artwork.
Okay, very well. And Jenny, you're from China. Do you know about this festival? Mentioned
Yes,
here?
I know this festival. I think it celebrates once a year, and I think it's very popular in China every winter. But unfortunately, I have never been in this city. I know this is famous, but I've never been in this festival.
Okay, very well. So is it like it was mentioned in the audio, or is there any other details?
Yes, it's like I saw some TV news. It's very fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
Okay.
there are many how to say that, ice statues.
Mm-hmm. Statues?
Yeah, statues.
Oh, statues. Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome. Very well. So it sounds interesting. Very well. And then there's another festival in Ivrea. I think it's like pronounced like in Italian. And it was they throw about, Oscar answer, 1 million oranges. Yeah. And there is another one that it's called La Tomatina, and I think this one is in Italy too. And they throw tomatoes. Uh yeah, they do that. I don't know why. I think they have like there's some history. But it's just like a waste of food. But yeah, that's one very weird tradition. Like actually, there are some other ones too. Then we have the festival in Lopburi, Thailand. So this one starts in the morning or at night. Okay, so it was in the morning. Very well. So in which one they're singing and dancing? Harbin, Ivrea, or Laburi?
library.
Okay. Let's see. In which one it's amazing at night?
Harbin.
Harbin. Okay. People feed animals?
Library.
Uh-huh. In Thailand. Very well. People dress up in costumes.
Ivrea.
Yeah. The weather is cold.
Harbin.
Okay. And celebrates a past event.
Ivry.
Yeah. Exactly, in Italy. So just like this, we're going to see a couple more of examples. Like I told you, you will really, will- it will blow your mind. So one of the strangest customs in the world, some of them are even dangerous, and people still do it to these days. So I'm gonna play it. Let me show you. All right.
This video was made possible jumping headfirst down
I think this is in New Guinea. Let me see.
diving. This requires climbing a 100
One Island. Where is that? Okay. Well, it's beautiful. So in these beautiful islands, the tribes practice some strange traditions. Okay. Like,
foot tower of wood and jumping headfirst down to the ground, escaping certain death only because of vines tied around their ankles. In Indonesia, young people of both genders
okay.
participate in a unique custom of their own to transition from wild children to being considered fully human. It requires that their canine teeth are ground down. This is done without any form of pain relief, and they are expected to sit quietly without a sound. It's believed that pointy teeth will prevent them from reaching heaven, as they'll be mistaken for wild animals.
Yeah, and I think Indonesia is a Muslim country, so that's why. Huh. And especially some people who have very prominent canine teeth, like, well, not me, but some other really have. And wow, they say they take them out without any pain relief, without any anesthesia. It must be So beautiful.
any form of pain relief, and they are expected to sit quietly without a sound. It's believed that pointy teeth will prevent them from reaching heaven, as they'll be mistaken for wild animals. Of course, with time, children become adults, and most adults will at some point search for love. Beware if you're unlucky in this area and remain single in Denmark. In some areas, the custom is to go up to anyone unmarried on their 25th birthday and fling handfuls of cinnamon on them. If you think that's bad, just wait until you're still single at the age of 30. This is when you'll get covered in spicy bursts of pepper. Germany has its own strange customs in this area too. When single German men turn 30 in Bremen, they must sweep cathedral steps to organ music until a girl takes pity on them and gives them a kiss. But don't
Okay.
think those that find love are in the clear. Once a more widespread custom but still practiced by the Tujia people of China, a woman must cry for a whole month before her wedding day. Once it's dark, she'll walk around and sob for an hour each night. After 10 days, her mother will join in and cry along. Yet 10 days after this, her grandmother will start crying too. If the bride has any sisters or aunts, you guessed it, 10 days after this, her grandmother will cry each night. After cry for a whole month before her wedding.
China.
Find love are in the clear. Once a more widespread custom but still practiced by the Tujia people of China, a woman must cry for a whole month before her wedding day. Once it's dark, she'll walk around and sob for an hour each night. After 10 days, her mother will join in and cry along. Yet 10 days after this, her grandmother will start crying too. If the bride has any sisters or aunts, you guessed it, they must also follow along. This is meant to make
What? Is this true? Did you know about this, Chinny? Like everyone cries when you get married? Well, it's not everyone in China, just these specific people.
No, I think some like close families will cry, but not so excited. No, it's not this.
Okay. So, how it is, I don't know if you could tell us a bit in China, let's say that, how is it to start dating? Yeah, let's say, they're both Chinese people and they start dating, because I guess that it must be different when you are a foreigner, um, wanting to date a Chinese. So in China, let's say that you start dating, is it really different from what happens in the rest of the world, or is similar? And when you get married, do you have any traditions? You have to ask the parents, or how is it?
I think in China, traditionally for a wedding, we have to ask to invite our parents and close families and close friends. And the wedding usually starts very early. Like for example, I participate in a wedding of my friend. She had to get up at
Mhm,
6 o'clock in the morning because he had to like make up herself
mhm,
and take photos and different photos with his friends and family members. And then we have a phase like she had to stay at home waiting her husband to pick
mhm,
up her. And there are like phase of like wording games.
mhm,
For example, we have to hide the shoes of how to say that of my friend, and her husband had to find it, and also her husband had to give like uh we call it like red letters like small
mhm.
money to close friends of the female part. Like there are many wedding games, but I think the formal ceremony starts at normally at 12 o'clock.
Wow.
So like a half day. We start in the
Uh-huh.
morning.
Okay. Okay, and let's say like when you start, is there anything like a dating process before getting married? You need to have the parents' approval, or it's not really important?
I think it depends the places, but Tradition, the day before the wedding, two parts cannot meet up.
Uh-huh.
That's only tradition I know, but I don't know if there are any like tradition, but it depends the parents and depends the place.
Okay. All right. So, it's really different, like dating in China than dating um anywhere else in the world.
Yes, dating is another history, because in China, I think the most of the parents will present like some friends to you,
Mhm.
and like we say it's like dating. How to say that?
So the parents propose
Cita
you.
a ciegas, cita a ciegas.
Okay, blind date. Okay.
Yeah, blind date. Yes, but it's in type like the parents think you should marry now until I think you are old. You have to marry now. That's the
Okay.
opinion of your
You have
parents.
they say you have to marry old.
Sorry.
Do you say that they usually want them to get married when they are old? When you're old?
No, no. For example, a girl of like 28, 27, in the eyes of parents, it's an age.
Mm-hmm.
Have to have to marry, have to get your other part.
Okay. Very well. So, did it surprise you when you went to different country to Chile and you see that everyone was doing different things?
Yeah, I think it's like I think in Chile I have more freedom.
Uh-huh.
I don't know like receive the comments on my friends and my parents. I think it's better.
Yeah. Like the cultural shock, right?
Yes,
All
yes.
right. Yeah, I always wonder because, we don't, well, in this part of the world, we don't get that much information. So we really don't know how it is. So yeah, I think that a really different cultures, values, and mindsets, right? In this part of the world, it's not um like I think that if an European goes to America, or to the US, I mean, so he might feel some differences because yeah, it's very different, but still we could say we have this mainstream Western culture. And I think that when you compare it with let's say China or Russia, which obviously they are really different, but I mean this power word, I feel that there are big differences. No? You don't didn't feel that?
Yeah, but now I think China is also changing a lot, because like younger generations prefer to be single,
Mm-hmm.
not instead of being married, because we all want to be like more free,
Mm-hmm.
have more time to focus on more things.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, it's really interesting culture. I think that we would we would ask you more often because I think that that's something that uh
Yeah,
makes us curious. Well, but especially I
yes.
think there are more traditions in from China in this video. We'll continue watching, but yeah, it was interesting.
Make the wedding day seem just that much happier by comparison. In Germany, it's customary to throw a Polterabend party a few weeks before a wedding. During this, guests show up and break a bunch of porcelain and other pottery. It's then up to the future husband and wife to clean up the mess. This can last all night, with guests continuing to smash cups, plates, and bowls after the couple has just cleaned everything up. It's believed this will prepare the two for the messes that life will eventually throw at them.
Germans are so funny, they're always so I think there's even a word in. I always need to ask my wife one. In Germany, there's a word. Well, Weltschmerz. So it's basically this. That's what it says, but it's just like a word in German that it means the pain of existing, you know? Just like life is suffering. That's why for me it's funny, like this tradition. They say you need to prepare for. I don't want to use a this is a bad word, but they're basically preparing for the mess, for the things that happen in life, right? Especially because many Europeans, obviously, I don't want to generalize, but in this part of Germany, let's say that you can think about Europe, um, like going from imagine Germany, so you divide Germany in half. To the western part, we have teenagers. I mean, it's very weird to find, like Cheney said, like they usually don't want to get married. They want to wait until they like focus on other goals, or it's more common just to live with your boyfriend or girlfriend without being married, and even have a family without being married. Um, and let's say that is more like the Western mindset, right? Now, from Germany to the Eastern, it's a different story because it's very common, and I've seen many people, many friends who get married when they are in their early 20s, or even when they're 18, 18, 19. This is very common in Eastern Europe. And, Germany has a bit of it. Like, Germany is like half Western, half Eastern. Well, it's more Western, but still some traditions. They're more like in Eastern Europe, even though it's not Eastern Europe, it's Central Europe. But I mean, there's a difference between Eastern Europeans, a big cultural difference between Eastern Europeans and when I say Eastern, I also consider the center sometimes in Western, like Italy, like the UK, like France, like Spain, and their mindset is totally different. But still, I find it very funny, that they are teaching them to break all this cluttery for, like, it must be funny and at the same time frustrating, to teach them that they're going to deal with misery in life, even while being happily married, because they get married when they are very young in this part of Europe. I'm not going to say Germany, but still, some parts of Germany, they are not the Germany that we always think, the very advanced industry they have created, their economy. And but Germans still have these traditions. And like I told you, in some parts of Europe, Eastern Europe, Central Europe, people get married when they are very young. So I think this is a good lesson for them, right? So they're teaching them to get prepared for the, I don't want to use a bad word, but you know what I mean, right? That life will throw to you. Um, yeah, I find it funny. And it's teaching you a lesson, right? I know many friends who have gotten married when they are too young, and I think that they don't know, or they don't think about the implications and problems, and yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
just cleaned everything up. It's believed this will prepare the two for the messes that life will eventually throw at them. In Scotland, there's a similarly messy custom known as the blackening. It's when the future bride and groom are surprised, tied up, and blackened. In other words, they're covered in flour, custards, dirt, or soot to become as dirty as possible. After they take a shower or two, it's believed they'll have more luck. In Greece, when a couple actually gets married, those attending will spit. They won't actually hit the bride and groom because though it looks like they're really doing it, it's really just symbolic. Making a spitting motion and sound 3 times is thought to protect against.
So they're not actually spitting, they're just pretend they're doing like I don't know how they would pretend, but I think that while they try to pretend they're spitting, they actually will spit on someone. Well, like all these traditions, usually they, that's what I told you. It's about the culture, it's about religion here. For example, they, this is, this is done in order to protect them from the evil spirits, right? I think that many of these traditions, when you see the origin of many even weddings, like the thing about throwing a bouquet of flowers when the bride does that, the thing about the cake, like everything has some tradition, and most of it's based on religion, or in some, not religion, but maybe magic thoughts or superstitions. Nowadays people don't do it for that reason, but they are following things, or they continue on practicing or celebrating in a way that recalls those times. Yeah,
Evil spirits.
what a weird thing.
Though rather strange, Indonesia practices an even crazier and rather uncomfortable custom once a couple is married. The newlyweds are kept in a room for 3 days and 3 nights and not allowed to use the bathroom and
No way. 3 days. I need to replay it.
3 nights and not allowed to use the bathroom
Okay, so they're locked 3 days and they don't go to the bathroom, so
and guarded to ensure they don't cheat. Once this time is up, they take a bath and begin a normal married life.
that's a traumatizing way to start a married life.
Strange customs continue around the world in regard
This is worse.
to pregnancy and family. In China, for example, the partner of a pregnant woman is expected to carry her over burning coals. Though painful for the one doing the carrying, it will ensure the future mother has a more pleasant and swift labor. Then, once born, cultures have a different approach to celebrating birth and providing a newborn protection. In Spain, during the festival of El Colacho, babies are placed on blankets in the street. Men dressed as red and yellow devils run around and fight pious men dressed in black.
No people jumping on babies to protect them from demons. No, what's this? I think this is dangerous. Just imagine someone's jumping and the idiot's not careful and they crash the baby.
The men then jump over the babies, which is meant to keep them safe from sin and disease. Though not exactly safe,
I know.
in India they take it to a whole different level of extreme. A few Hindu and Muslim parents wanting the same spiritual protection for their child will throw their babies off the top of 50-foot buildings. When all goes according to plan, the babies are caught in a sheet below.
I can't believe this is real. It should be okay, it's a few Hindu and Muslim parents. But come on. I think that even if you will throw the baby to a blanket, the baby is not prepared for throwing him 50 meters high, or I don't care how tall these buildings are, but they could easily break their necks, or the brain, like would crash inside their head.
Muslim parents wanting the same spiritual protection for their child will throw their babies off the top of 50-foot buildings.
50 foot? So that's not 50 meters, right? I hate when they use how much. Well, it's a lot, but just for you to know. Okay, 52 meters, 50. Okay, still, it's ridiculous.
When all goes according to plan, the babies are caught in a sheet below. While some customs can be unpleasant or scary, others can be more fun, though they can also get a bit messy. An example of this is La Tomatina,
As the one I told you, remember? Yeah, in Italy.
also known
No,
as
it's
the
in Spain.
world's biggest food fight. This takes place on the last Wednesday of August in the Spanish town of Bunol. Thousands flock to this event from all around the world. However, due to limited space, only 20,000 get inside. These lucky few are given over 100 tons of overripe tomatoes to fling in the streets. Believe it or not, though just an hour, La Tomatina makes quite a mess and it takes fire trucks to clean it up afterward. While some believe La Tomatina began first as an escalation of a small food fight, a tomato toss during a parade, or the response to a performance by an ungifted musician, its origins are not exactly known. Its purpose, on the other hand, is. The event is meant to honor Louis Bertrand and the Virgin Mary, Bunol's patron saints. The Battle of Oranges in Italy is a custom based on a much
This is the one we hear in the audio.
less lighthearted event. It's meant to symbolize the myth about a horrible marquis who tried to rape a woman
The book didn't mention a rape.
who instead cut off his head. After he died, the people of the town staged an uprising and stormed his castle. This revolt is what is symbolized through 3 days of citrus-based fights.
Like the expression, citrus-based fight. And there was tomato-based fight. What else? Well, in Mexico, there's a story of a cake-based fight. Isn't it?
It begins when one woman is picked who pretends to be the one who killed the marquis. Then 9 teams are created to represent both commoners and royalty. Dressed in their battle best, they fight in the streets of Ivrea that have been set aside as a makeshift battleground. For 3 whole days before Fat Tuesday begins, every person, man, woman, or child, throws oranges at the opposing teams and symbolically kills them on contact. While an airborne orange doesn't sound like a threat, it's not uncommon for many to develop bruises, cuts, or other wounds. Not as big as La Tomatina, the Battle of the Oranges is Italy's largest food fight. More than 500,000 pounds of fruit are used, and pulp covers the people and the streets. While many in La Tomatina and the Battle of the Oranges find themselves running from flying food, the English go a different direction in a custom practiced at Cooper's Hill. The Cooper Hill Cheese Roll Competition is an annual event of quite an unusual type. It requires participants to hurtle down a steep hill to catch a wheel of cheese. However, like battles with an orange, this event has its own type of hazards. Chris Anderson, a man who set a new record by scoring 22 cheeses in 14 years,
Yeah, you check here. Cheese roll competition. It's really funny, you know, they're all chasing cheese and they hurt themselves badly. I would do this, metaphorically speaking, because I love cheese.
Are you tempted to go down? 50-50.
I thought he was a girl.
Why? Because it is fantastic festival
Oh.
all over the world. So I came here. I'm Japanese festival man.
Joshua, have you done any training for this? Because I think you need some training.
Yeah, that's what people do. Okay, all right, guys. So now we we check. This is what well, we have here some vocabulary. But we're going to learn some differences between, this is one of the most, I think, extended and confusing grammar topics in English. And it's grammar and infinitives. So there are four different things, sorry, five different things, combination of verbs you can create, and usually is when to use an infinitive and when to use a gerund. There are five different scenarios. Why would we use the gerund or infinitive? So remember that, well, in English, you can use both ways and literally they're the same, right? For example, if you say to start in English is the same as starting, yeah? Starting, yeah? To dance is the same as dancing, or to eat is the same as eating, right? In English, you can use these both ways to use infinitive. Understand infinitive, you need to imagine like the verb that is not being conjugated. Yeah. So when you say, for example, I like is already conjugated, but when you use this gerund or infinitive, they're not conjugated. But we would have this situation when we have two verbs in one sentence, right? Like when I say, I like to dance, and you have two verbs, and the first one is already conjugated, so you need to use the infinitive. And at the same time, I like dancing is a gerund that you use, but there's no change in the meaning of these two sentences. Both I like to dance and I like dancing mean exactly the same. The problem comes because some verbs are not flexible, you know? Love is a flexible verb. A hate is a flexible verb. Um, yeah, you know, you can use them, but some other verbs don't allow you to use it. For example, if you say want in English, you should always use infinitive after want. So this can be confusing. That's what we're gonna check here. So let's remember how to use infinitive and gerunds. And like I told you, there are five situations. I will show you briefly which are those five reasons, and then I will go in deep into analyzing different examples, some exceptions, if there are. So let's check here. So it says gerunds and infinitives. All right, so here, I already explained to you, right, that you can use gerunds and infinitives, and they both mean the same thing, right? You can say to sing, singing, to dance, dancing, to run, running, and they mean the same. Now, the five different scenarios is you can use, or you're supposed to use infinitive only, only infinitive. Some verbs, there's no other, you cannot use gerund. You're you're expected to use infinitive only. Then we have verbs that you may use with ing only, the gerund forms. This is the second type, only gerund. Then there are some verbs which you can be flexible, like what I told you, like, love, all the verbs you see here, these examples, you can use both the infinitive and gerund. And then there is the other type, this fourth type, is verbs that you can use, you are allowed to use infinitive or gerund, but the meaning will change, right? So these ones are especially challenging because you can use both gerund or ing after these verbs. For example, you can say in English, forget doing homework or forget to do homework, but they don't mean the same. Just like when you say stop to eat and stop eating, they don't mean the same. And then we have the other category that I told you, the fifth one, some other verbs, but in this case, they're just make, let, and occasionally help make, let, and help, you don't need to use an infinitive, infinitive or gerund. So with this version, say, for example, let me to take or make me to do, right? Just let me take, make me do. So the first thing you have to remember now that we mentioned these five is there's no one way to learn what verbs use the gerund or what verbs use the infinitive. You should learn to, let's say, by heart, to um, and check them in different examples with some sentences and learn them from the literature that you read or from your movies or series. Um, and then because there is no rule, it's not like some kind of verbs with use infinitive. Is just that's throughout the development of English, people got used to using infinitive, and they didn't use the gerund for some of them. Now the gerund, usually the verbs um that use the gerund are followed by activities, like dancing. That's why maybe I love dancing is the gerund was used because it's an activity, dancing is not only a verb, but it's an activity, right? And some other verbs also adopted the same position, mm, the same way to use them. So that's why we have some verbs in English that use the gerund, but sometimes it's just no rules at all. There's no reason why some verbs use infinitive and why some verbs use the gerund. Just have to learn them by heart, and that's challenging thing. But like I told you, either you learn them by heart or you practice and you get to see how they use these verbs. But it's just by practicing, it's just by watching movies and series and like getting to see how it's used, and because memorizing can be not the best for you. Now, there are some other things that can help you to identify when you will use the gerunds. Gerunds are used especially with verbs related to senses, which we call sensitive verbs, right? Verbs that indicate any feeling, let's say, can be a feeling like related to your senses or a feeling related to your emotions. Yeah. So any verb related to your five senses, the listening, the sight, the taste, the hearing, and the touch, you can use or you should use the gerund. For example, after words like feel, hear, see, smell, watch, touch. Um, yeah, these sensitive verbs you will use gerund. Now, other thing that will help you to identify when to use gerunds is after prepositions. So all these verbs you see here, they have at the end, they are phrasal verbs, and they end in prepositions, just like most of the phrasal verbs. So after, if you want to involve two verbs in one sentence, and the first one is a phrasal verb, so the next one will be in gerund form, just like in this sentence. It says after seeing the museum's collection online. So after is a preposition itself. So that's why you don't say after to see or after see, you say after see. After seeing the museum's collection online, looked forward to visiting. Yeah. So here you have the verb look forward to, which is three-word phrasal verb. And even though you have two at the end, you don't say look forward to visit. Actually, this is like very tricky for students, and they very often you have it in exams, like certification exams, because sometimes students don't remember that look forward to, the to in look forward to is not the infinitive, is a preposition. Yeah. So that's why we say visiting and not to visit in this sentence. Yeah. So we already talked about random verbs that use gerund that you need to memorize. We talk about sensitive verbs and also verbs that are succeeded by a preposition. Yeah. These are some things you can keep in mind. As for, there's not much to say about infinitive other than there are random verbs you will need to learn by heart so you can get to know them. Here you have like the most common. And there's also these two verbs, like I told you, make, let, go, come, and help too. These are verbs that don't use infinitive. For example, in English, you can see something like, well, you can see these examples. Maybe you're already familiar with them, right? You say, let me go, not let me to go. But you could also see something like, help, help me do it, and not help me to do it. Yeah. When are we going to, because yeah, help, you would use infinitive usually, but you write it without a infinitive or gerund when you have the object pronoun, which is in this case me, help you. I will help you. I will help you create, right? Not help you to create. I will help you create. And well, actually, you can use the other form too, but it's more common to use it without. So it's not like you're doing on grammar things by this, but you just use it without. Then go or come are verbs that use less often, but still you use them without infinitive or gerund. For example, you can say like the famous song, come and get your love. No, come and get your love. Go go see my, I don't know. Go see your little brother. Go see your little brother, not go to see. Go see your little brother, like, or like orders, commands, call verbs and commands with come and go, don't use infinitive. Or let's say, uh, go pick up, go pick up, I don't know, mm, my friend. Okay, go pick up my friend. Yeah. So these verbs make, let, help, come, go. These ones don't need, I mean, make and let never use infinitive or gerund, but come, go, and help may not use it depending on the situation or context. Yeah. And all right, what else? Well, already explained to you that we have some verbs in English, which no problem, like using infinitive or gerund, you just, I like to call them ingenitive verbs, I like to call them ingenitive because no problem, just use whatever you want. Just remember that when you use infinitive is more American and gerund is more the British form, but they're both the same, basically. All right. Now, next class, we're going to focus on this last, um, yeah, this last category, which you can have verbs that could use both ways, both infinitive or gerund. Let's say they are ingenitive too, but they change their meaning. Yeah. So we're going to talk about this the next class. also for you to write it in a more proficient way. You know, for example, when you start a sentence in English with a verb, you should use yearn every time. Or explain like after prepositions, um you use yearn. But we will talk about this the next class, right? Okay, so I don't know if you have any questions so far about what we explained of infinitives and gerunds. Um, we will explain the next class, this last category, but don't know if you have any questions so far. Okay. Yeah, of course, I'll share with you. I'm doing this moment so I don't forget. All right. So thank you so much, guys, and see you.